Did you enjoy your meal? Yes, what a rowdy bunch you are. Thursday is the new Friday, so let's have a great evening. You're enjoying it so far. I'm delighted to have been asked to host tonight's awards. You could say that I'm a bit of a tourist myself. I first came to Norfolk from Essex 12 years ago, and I never left. I came up here as a tourist. I couldn't find my way out, and I fell in love with Norfolk. And that, I reckon, sums it up, doesn't it? That sums up Norfolk, doesn't it? It looks a beautiful sight there. The rolling hills, Gas Hill, Beeston Bump, we reckon that's about it. I was thinking the other day about tourism in Norfolk, having just had a little mini break with the family on the North Norfolk coast a couple of weeks ago. You can live here, be born and bred here, but you can still be a tourist here as well. So you don't have to live outside of Norfolk to enjoy the delights of our county. There's so much to see, to do, and enjoy. And I heard a statistic earlier today when we were doing the rehearsal, and it went something like this. A gentleman pulled me to one side. I won't say who it was because we can't verify this statistic or this fact as to whether it's true or not. But he said to me, do you know what, David? Tourism is greater in Norfolk than in Cornwall. It may not be true, but we'll stick with it, shall we? So if we see that in the EDP tomorrow, we can say sources close to the EDP can reveal that, ... and we'll leave it there. But I reckon that's true. What do you reckon, Nigel? Marvellous. I did start out life as a journalist. I don't purport to being one anymore, but the mantra always was, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So that's what we'll go with this evening. But tonight we are celebrating everything you do. The people that make Norfolk tick when it comes to enjoying ourselves and having a good time. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making tonight happen. We'll thank them as we go along because they've supported individual awards this evening, so we'll thank them as they come to the stage. But before we crack on with the awards, can I please welcome our guest speaker this evening from Stratton's in Swaffham. She's going to say a few words for us, Vanessa Scott.
Thank you, David, and good evening. For those who don't know, I live and work in Swaffham. We opened Stratton's Hotel in 1990 after converting an historic listed villa in the town centre, situated in one of the oldest streets, part of a late medieval area of craftsmen and merchants and tucked behind the shop frontages. Great when you get there, not good from a marketing angle. We immediately attracted the quality guides. At the time, they were crucial to occupancy, and from that interest, national journalists called us up. The conversation that took place was along the lines of, where exactly are you? We would explain how we sat centrally to explore the county in any direction. Swaffham was one of the small market towns which grew during Norfolk's wealthy medieval agricultural past. Dominated by a huge church, most of the town centre's Georgian Victorian facades hide medieval houses. When the penny dropped, the exclamation would be something like this. I know, you're that town we passed through with the market in it on our way to Norfolk. The journalists sincerely believed the North Norfolk coast was the only Norfolk. In the mid-90s, we were invited to take part in a new tourism partnership, an initiative to create ownership for all stakeholders trying to promote the beautiful and unique area that the hotel is situated in, namely the Brecks, one of the great natural areas of Britain that includes 370 square miles straddling South Norfolk and North Suffolk, created by the last ice age. The Brecks partnership was supported by the 2 county councils and 5 district councils. It was a lifeline in a market where the competition was really hotting up. The partnership had a delicate task of balancing the needs of the populace, recreational users such as tourists, businesses needing economic sustainability, and the need for conservation. I was so excited when at long last people like the Good Hotel Guide and Alistair Sorday finally used these words to describe our location, situated in the Norfolk Brecks. One of the things we did in the restaurant in the early years was to provide a daily changing set menu with choices, with a cheese tasting course that was compulsory before pudding. People still talk to me, it was my husband's kind of thing, but people still talk to me how much they enjoyed that element. It was the story behind the product which gave added value, added enjoyment, and a sense of place, as we only served up cheeses from the UK, and more latterly, as the cheesemakers evolved in the region, only local cheese. Likewise, we could provide informed copy, train our staff, talk to our visitors about the Brex, because the Brex partnership provided that support. The tools to help brand our landscape and create excitement. Being part of the partnership was also important because as a business, we brought our own expertise to the table. We could take part in a conversation about how best to develop our product. Being part of Visit Norfolk is exactly the same. So more of the Brex. I'm sorry, this is a shameless plug of the Brex. Historically, Neolithic man cleared the natural forest with axes fashioned from flints, mined in the area, and heathland developed. In the past, the Brex was an open landscape of sheep walk, rabbit warren, and breck, temporary fields allowed to revert back to heath, and abounding with heathland wildlife. The heath developed on areas of poor soil with poor fragile fertility. Burning, grazing, arable farming, and the harvesting of furze and bracken have helped create and maintain them. On these ancient heathlands, rabbits were farmed in medieval times in warrens until they became a major pest. And so adapting those messages to the hotel, 2 minutes from the hotel, you can tramp the old Drove Road over Swaffham Heath that leads to Beechamwell Warren, one of the many warrens in the area that reflect this historical association with rabbits. On the same route, you're likely to see different types of deer such as red, roe, fallow, and muntjac. To add to this story, we created bespoke jogging, cycling, and walking maps from the hotel. Today, the Brex is mostly a landscape of forestry and farming. Thetford Forest is spread across 80 square miles and the largest lowland forest in Britain. It was started in the 1920s as a strategic timber reserve and is home for many endangered wildlife species such as red squirrel, woodlark, and nightjar. By far the most characteristic symbols of the countryside are the hedges and shelter belts of Scots pines, planted as windbreaks at the time of the enclosure from 1768 onwards, to stop the precious topsoil from blowing away. They line the roads and edges of the fields, their branches and trunks twisted by age and the elements. Visit Norfolk offers this same level of fantastic detail about the whole county, old and new. Meanwhile, the UK had been experiencing a renaissance in its food heritage. The 2 world wars had been responsible for stifling and killing off many fantastic artisan food products. Cheese and bread were made to ministry recipes to give the best nutrition to the populace, but in so doing, we lost our industry vibrancy, the authenticity and individuality. In the Brex, its unique geography and climate, it's one of the driest parts of Britain, yields some interesting crops, from world-class asparagus to blueberries, the former liking the light sandy soils of the area, whilst blueberries need the ericaceous, acid and peaty soils associated with heather growth, a clue to the area's past. All this information, the process of inventory, is part of a countrywide movement to get back to sourcing local food and appreciating just what's on your doorstep. Sometimes you can overlook what's staring you in the face because it becomes so familiar, part of the wallpaper. The Norfolk Food and Drink Festival is the biggest of its kind in the UK because there's been superb engagement by the food sector in the county and support from vital partners such as Archant to spread the word. Visit Norfolk is help driving that link between food and tourism. Check out Visit Norfolk for this information and much more. Take part. The food we offer is as diverse as the county and what creates our unique visitor experience. Tapping into all this support, 3 years ago, we started the Brex Food Festival, which in its first year won a national award, the Action for Market Towns. So a huge plug for the Brex, forgive me. What's that got to do with any of you? Well, I'd like you to hold this thought, please. In Swaffham's heyday, there were theatres, assembly rooms, pleasure gardens, and a racecourse. And Fanny Nelson preferred to live here because the Burnhams were too quiet. How times change. All of us in the tourism industry live fairly frenetic lives. It's a 24/7 lifestyle and somewhat insular. It's often difficult to think outside the box, and I'm hoping that all those factors are the reason there is a pathetic private sector involvement in Norfolk tourism, but it needs to change. We may be smug and consider our businesses destinations in their own right. We may feel we cannot make a difference. We may think that we need no help. We may think the messages being shouted by Visit Norfolk are wrong and ill-informed. We may have too much business to cope with, though I doubt that in truth. We may think we know best. We are faced, however, with the spectre of no further strategic promotion of the county with the withdrawal of public sector finance. In the Brex, you may have already heard that the partnership is in the process of being dissolved following the withdrawal of public sector funding. We all compete against each other. On the plus side, this does create better businesses. When we opened in 1990, there were half a dozen of our type of boutique hotels spread across Norfolk and Suffolk. There are now many, many, many. We need to constantly think about enticing more people into the county, and we really do have something for everything, for everyone, with the Broads, the Brex, South Norfolk and the Waveney Valley, West Norfolk and the Fens, Great Yarmouth, Norwich, and of course the fabulous North Norfolk coast. So my cri de coeur is please start that conversation with Visit Norfolk today, tonight, if you haven't. To make Norfolk top of mind as a destination and keep our businesses vibrant in every sense, we are competing with the rest of the country. We have an amazing opportunity at this point in time with Pete Waters as brand manager, but we are in serious danger of losing him and Visit Norfolk itself without your unanimous support. Thank you.
Vanessa, thank you very much. So what's going to happen tonight is that before you all leave this evening, Vanessa is going to you're going to rugby tackle every single person as they leave to make sure. But I'm being silly with you, but of course, this is so important, isn't it? We do live in a fabulous county, and it really is worth shouting from the rooftops about, isn't it?
It is, and of course there's so many more businesses in Norfolk now than there was when we started 23 years ago, and we really are all going to be, we are competing with the rest of the country, and we need more of that business here. We can certainly support it because we have some amazing businesses with high standards, so I just think we need to all have that conversation rather than leave it to the sort of same olds who always take part.
The product is great, the products are great, we've just got to get the message out there.
Absolutely.
Vanessa, you can't go anywhere yet. Simon from Ho Seasons, would you like to come back to the stage, please? If you just come back over here, and Simon's going to pop over to the lectern there. Thank you.
I feel a little bit like Cilla Black. Surprise, surprise, yes. We all lead very busy lives, and we all run very successful businesses, and this is true of Vanessa. And we've heard this evening that she gives up a huge amount of time and energy to support the Brex. I'm a big fan of the Brex, as I'm sure you've heard this evening, but also the wider Norfolk tourism community. And it's for this reason that the judges felt that she was a very deserving winner of tonight's Outstanding Achievement Award. So it's my absolute pleasure to present Vanessa with this award.
Aren't we sneaky? Aren't we sneaky? course, our first award tonight, the Outstanding Achievement Award, normally comes at the end, but of course, Vanessa was up there. Vanessa, before you go, how does that feel to be given that award? I know you were there banging the drum for the Brecks and saying how wonderful Norfolk is, but of course you got the first award of the evening. Total surprise to you?
Yeah, totally. Surprise. And I must admit, I'm very humble because there are so many people that, you know, I do give up some time, but it is for my benefit too. But there are so many people. You know, I'm thinking of Sarah de Chair here tonight, who chairs up the Norfolk Food Festival, who puts in so much time. So,
well done, Sarah, as well. Thank you, Sarah. So congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, worthy winner, Outstanding Achievement Award, and Simon from Ho Seasons, thank you very much, sir. And thank you for your support as well this evening. Well, what a start. That's a great way to start an awards ceremony, isn't it? Give it a great award to start with, and well deserved to Vanessa Scott as well.